James Bullock, who is going to be presenting over the fuse here. So James may not be able to hear your questions, so at the end I'll pop up here and relay any. And James, go on ahead.
Thanks very much. So let me just apologize right away that I have got a cough, so I'm going to do my best not to cough in your ear too much from far away. So Joel asked me to talk a little bit about campus programs in the context of this session, where I think we're supposed to be talking about how could we improve HiPACC for the next round. And so what I wanted to do is tell you a little bit about what the MIRP that we have, the MRPI that we have in Southern California, that's about galaxy evolution, and then use that sort of in the context of talking about things we've learned and what I think maybe HiPACC might be able to do even better in the future, and leave it sort of open for discussion. So just to give you an overview, another one of the MRPIs that exists that's like HiPACC is something we're doing in Southern California that we've called the Southern California Center for Galaxy Evolution. And so this is a multi-campus endeavor with basically the 5 southern UC campuses. So Irvine, UCLA, Riverside, San Diego, and Santa Barbara. We are actually one of the sort of least well-funded MRPIs. We got $1.2 million over 5 years. And so because we're a fairly lean operation, we decided to basically take all of the money and use it to fund postdocs. And especially with the campuses down in Southern California, we're not flush with postdocs, so we don't have a lot of sort of funded named fellows that sit around the halls, and postdocs are extremely valuable to us. They're precious gems, and so the fact that we thought if we did this, it would really help these campuses. And the context was we wanted to hire postdocs, we call them CGE fellows, based on the prospects that those postdocs will create new collaborative research endeavors among at least 2 campuses, between 2 campuses and possibly among 3 or 4 that are in the CGE. And so when we choose these fellows, we choose them based on both research expertise and excellence, and also on a research proposal where they actually propose to come and collaborate between at least 2 campuses in their proposal. So it's sort of like a Hubble proposal, except that they talk about a collaborative kind of thing, and that's how we hire them. So since 2010, when we started, we've hired 8 CGE fellows. We've been able to hire so many because we usually, although not always, leverage funds with a PI and sometimes multiple PIs. and these so far these CGE fellows actually have done quite well. 3 of them have received, they're either faculty now or they've received faculty offers and they're trying to figure out where they want to go. So far we've been pretty successful in that these new collaborations they've sparked. I mean, they've sparked more than 10 collaborations among PIs at faculty members at 1 or 2 other southern UC campuses. And these collaborations have resulted in multi-night Keck proposals, HST programs, and NSF grants, and things like that. So we feel pretty good about what we're doing. As I'll talk about next, we've done a few other things on the side, like hosting focus workshops on specific topics in galaxy evolution, having general meetings. There's a larger collaboration called MOSDEF that we've supported a little bit, and CGE fellows have sort of played a role in. So far, we've produced a lot of research, a lot of bang for the buck. So the CGE-funded research has produced more than 100 publications, and going from 2010 to 2013, I haven't done the accounting yet since then, with lots of citations, including a number of really highly cited and impactful papers. So that's what we're doing. And one of the things we've done is we've had a very nice partnership with HiPACC for a number of things, but one of the big things is with hosting meetings. We basically spend every dime we have on salaries for these postdocs, with very little left over for administration or anything else. And HiPACC has basically partnered with us to put on a number of workshops that I think have been really successful. And the most recent one was actually just in February. We had it in Irvine, and it was on connecting deep field observations with local observations. And I think we've had a number of these CG meetings, and I think this was probably the best one, actually. It was really well done. And one of the things that allowed us to, I think, pull it off was that HiPACC gave us basically this chunk of money that relieved our worries and time. We didn't have to spend so much time trying to raise money independently to put on the meeting, and we could focus entirely on planning. And we used the CGE postdocs helped us sort of put together this meeting that I think went off really well. And so I think the partnership was great. And HiPACC has done that with us in the past, and I think all with a lot of success. I should also mention that HiPACC has also supported hardware purchases for a few CGE fellows, which have enabled them to do things that they couldn't have otherwise done. So the way I see this, and so the way I'm thinking about it is, what can enable more of these kind of collaborations, real science collaborations? What can HiPACC do to help make this happen? And I really am sort of raising these issues in light of the most recent call. So we sort of got some verbiage for the call for the renewal of these MRPIs. And it definitely looks like, number one, external research funding is going to be something that they judge on, the likelihood for being able to raise outside funding to help support these efforts. And I also think real intra-campus collaborations is something that we would probably be useful to think about. And so what would help in principle to create more of these multi-campus collaborations? I think we've had some success with that, but probably not as much as we would like. Our model was you basically hire really smart, energetic postdocs that have a lot of time, and they travel among campuses and they make things happen that wouldn't otherwise happen. And that's definitely succeeded to some level. But what I think would be even better would be to get people together. Actually have people in the same room who have overlapping interests, and to make that happen more. I know HiPACC has done some of that already. They've done some lump sum funding. I know what's happening, for example, with the fire collaboration, that HiPACC is supporting that initiative, and I'm sure a lot of others. But the way I see it, I think one of the major obstacles in all of this kind of endeavor is time. You need to have, PIs need to have time to actually organize these meetings. People have to commit to actually attend these meetings and to set everything up, and there's just a lot of overhead on that. And I was sort of trying to brainstorm about what HiPACC might be able to do to make this easier. I mean, one thing that HiPACC has is a great administrative infrastructure. There are a number of people working at HiPACC that sort of make everything run very smoothly. And I think they've helped to some extent with off-campus stuff, a number of things, including this meeting. But is there a way that other campuses can even more easily tap into that infrastructure effectively? I mean, it could be as simple as maintaining a list of venues, maybe one in Southern California and one in Northern California, where you could have collaborative meetings that groups could tap into. That can then very easily be used. Even things as simple as website templates or support to actually build sort of just planning websites. It seems very simple, but maybe something along those lines. Or maybe even among the administrators at the people employed by HiPACC, someone could sort of wear the hat of, at least a part-time hat of a workshop czar that could help sort of initiate these kind of things, or have regular meetings in place that people could just go to and you can count on and build relationships among scientists. The last point I just wanted to raise, and then I'm just going to end because it's more just sort of points for discussion. Is there any way that HiPACC could help us if we wanted to write external research proposals to fund multi-campus research? So if we had a project between a couple of campuses, or maybe among a few, that had to do with specifically to help sort of really make these proposals pop, and maybe give them a bit of an edge over other groups. I don't know exactly how that would happen, but a lot of the stuff that I've seen coming out of HiPACC, like the summaries of what HiPACC does every year, for example, are really nice documents. And I could see that kind of, that kind of talent maybe being used to help us raise money for some of these research programs, and I think that would sell really well to UCOP if that could happen. Okay, that's really all I had to say, so I think I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you very much, James. Any questions, any thoughts from people here? I guess I have one question to start off with. Are you going to put in again for another round of this for the Southern California proposal that you had the last time?
Yeah, I think the plan is yes. We've been talking among people on the board here. We have a rep from every campus, and I think we definitely intend to do it. We have some ideas about things we might change in the new call. And one of the things that concerns me is that the description is the money is actually even going to be less than it was last time. And so, I feel like we're already running pretty lean, and I don't know exactly what we're going to say, exactly what we're going to do in that context. And also, there certainly is going to be an emphasis about the chances that this will be a you can basically launch a perpetuating funding for the initiative. Mm-hmm. And, we have offshoots of, we have things little programs that have started, that we've kickstarted and are now sort of funded by other, by either HST grants or NSF grants. But the center itself, there's not that many opportunities to fund a center like this, in Astro at least. So I don't know exactly what we're going to do, but our intention is to do it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I think that's it. Thank you very much, James, for joining us.
Yep.